Bear with me 1 second, Israel. I'm about to get into it. All right, shalom, Israel. Yahweh Bashem Yashar, Yahweh Bashem Yashar Brakathum, Yahweh Shemal Thum Bashem Yahshar. I'm preaching officer of 5,000 Yedaya. I will be holding it down tonight for 12 Shield General Muhammad. So Muhammad is a very, very busy brother in Israel. He will be back with you this Thursday. Now, Black, Latino, and First Nation man and woman. It is a lot going on, Ibad Hayat. A lot going on. And it's important for us to understand with World War III being around the corner, all of the signs, you know what I mean, of the fall and destruction of America. What must we do as God's chosen people? What must we do? We have to come to terms with what our identity truly is, that we are the real biblical and ethnic Jews, Black, Latino, and First Nation man and woman. That we're the Jews, the Israelites of antiquity, and that the oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of, El Hombre Blanco es el Diablo. Now it is time for us to wake up to that truth and separate ourselves from America. And in separating yourself, you know what you must do? Separate yourself from that Thanksgiving that I know that some of y'all was indulging in. I know some of y'all could not wait to sneak and get some turkey. And if you did, you are a traitor to your God, your king, and your people. Now it's time to wake up to what really is going on, man. Matter of fact, give me that in Romans. In Romans chapter 13 and verse 11. Like, we in the fourth quarter right now, Bob, with less than 2 minutes left to go, and you worried about all the wrong things, worrying about what they talking about there in the world, Bob. You know what I mean? They talking about, well, you know, salvation is now for everybody. That they taught that one West taught Gentile salvation. The Gentiles that are getting salvation are Israelites, and we can go into that. We can go into that, and the problem is, Matham Yad, is this. Our people have a serious problem. And what that serious problem is Stockholm Syndrome. You love your oppressor daddy so much. You love his country. You love his way of life. You love his money, that you will sell our people out for less. This is why you were not called into this truth. And you were not called to be a priest. And you for damn sure was not called to be leaders of our people. Leave that to the I.S.U.P.K. under 13 Shield Commanding General YAHANNA. Now, if I could, give me Romans chapter 13, verse 11. Y'all have any questions? I'll be answering your questions tonight. Type them in. Go ahead.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 13 and verse 11. And that, knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep.
In that, knowing the time, that it is high time to awake out of sleep. It's important to understand the time that we're in. We're in a time where we cannot, you know what I mean, procrastinate, where you cannot put off coming into the truth. Now is the time for you to realize that it is high time to awake out of sleep. Our problem is, you know what I mean, Ibad, is that everybody is fast asleep. Everybody is, you know what I mean, they claim they want to be woke. We in woke society right now, Ibad, where everybody claims to have some type of knowledge, podcast. Everybody thinks they know the way of life, and you really don't. You're really stupid. You're really fast asleep to what's really going on. How do I know that you're fast asleep? You were celebrating Thanksgiving. You're getting ready to celebrate Christmas. Like, that is just asinine to me, Ibad. Right. Like, you'd be surprised, man. You sitting out there. I saw it. I saw Israel. You was out there. You couldn't wait. When them food stamps got back, you couldn't wait to go get a turkey and the candy yams and the what's that? The nasty cranberry sauce. I saw you. Not realizing, man, that it's high time to awake out of sleep. That Thanksgiving is about the mass genocide of God's chosen people, that First Nation man and woman, that Seminole Indian man and woman, that Latino man and woman. How can we forget about the trauma, about the unalive, and about all of the pain and suffering that has been put forth on our people? And shame on you, black man, for not wanting to stand with your brothers and your sisters, man. That's why I say high time to awake out of what?
Yes, sir. Out. Socket. Now, and that knowing the time, that now is high time to awake out of sleep.
Mm-hmm.
For now is our salvation nearer than when we believe.
For now is our salvation nearer than what we believe. What does it mean where it says our salvation? Because salvation is not for everybody. Like, who's ever trying to tell you that salvation, you mean to tell me that the same oppressor that raped, robbed, and abused our Hispanic brothers and sisters, our First Nation brothers and sisters, they're going to get the same salvation that we're going to get? That's not a just God. You know what I mean, Mathumya? That would mean our Lord is not just, you know what I mean, if the ones that abused us, the ones that, you know what I mean, have done evil against us and our God, is going to receive in salvation that the Lord promised only to Israel. I mean, by only to Israel. Here's the thing. Everything to our Bible? No sweat. No sweat. Make sure you get on. Should have been done before class. This is what we got to realize, man. Our salvation is nearer than what we believed. Our salvation is ours. It ain't for everybody. And here's the thing, too, man. Like, if I could, give me Romans chapter 10 in verse 1. That's another thing. Lord Christ, Hakwaniya, how you doing, warrior? And it goes to show you that your fake Israelites, they don't read the Bible, Mathumya. They don't. I can show you all throughout the Bible, all throughout the New Testament, by the way, that salvation is only for the children of Israel. And there's really only one conclusion, like when I see brothers that be trying to give salvation to everybody, and we'll go into it in a second. But first, if I could just get the book of Romans, the 10th chapter and the first verse.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
This is the book of Romans, the 10th verse 1.
Go ahead.
Brethren, my heart's desire.
It says brethren. First off, you got to understand who Paul is talking about. Paul is saying brethren. Who's Paul's brethren? Paul is an Israelite. Romans 11 and verse 1. I'll read it. It says, I said, matter of fact, Aquania. Give me Romans 11 and verse 1, Baba Kushaw. Baba Kushaw. But keep going, Imad. Yeah, keep going. Aquani, I hold Romans 11 and 1.
This is the book of Romans, 10 and verse 1. Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer for God, for Israel, is that they might be saved.
Now, Paul is saying in Romans chapter 10 and verse 1, brethren, my heart's desire, meaning his mind's desire, and prayer to God for Israel that they might be saved. Now, I'm going to tell you what's so important about this chapter, right? A lot of fake Israelites and a lot of Christians will take you to Romans chapter 10 and verse 13. Read that, Bubba Kushaw. Matter of fact, read 10 and 12 real quick. Because this, I want to show you something on how important context is, on how important, if I could, brother, you know what I want to tell y'all. The water, brother. I was waiting. You know what I mean? I was waiting. You know, I'm quite parched. But if I could, I'm going to show you what Christians and fake Israelites like to do. I started at Romans chapter 10 and verse 1 for a reason, but now I want to take you down to Romans chapter 10 and verse 12. Right.
This is the book of Romans, 10 and verse 12. For there is no difference between the Jew and the Greek.
Stop. Now, a fake Israelite, a Christian, will show you this and say, you see, Yediah, there's no difference between the Jew and the Greek. Now you read that and you think, oh, you know what I mean? Between the Jew, you know, God's chosen people, and the Greek, you immediately think about Esau. Not thinking that, is it possible that that black man, that Latino man, that First Nation man could be living like a Greek, living like a Gentile? We can go into that too, but keep going. Yes, sir.
For there is no difference between the Jew and the Greek.
Mm-hmm.
For the same Lord over all is rich unto all that call upon him.
Ooh, we saying this, that the same Lord over all is rich unto all that call upon him. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. You see, Yediah, that's the same God. It's all rich unto them that call upon him, the Jew and the Greek. Read verse 13.
Yes, sir. Verse 13. For whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved.
For whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. Keep in mind the whosoever in context. They'll say, so whosoever call upon the name. They'll say, well, you see, Yediah, whosoever calls upon the Lord, whether if it's Bill, Bob, Fred, Charlie, McGillicuddy, if they call on the name of the Lord, they can have salvation. Yes, brother. Essentially, when they pull this on you, Akim, they just want to lay down with a white girl. That sister wants to lay down with a white man. That's really it. Because if you understood the context of what we read earlier, Paul said, brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to God for Israel that they might be saved. Paul is telling you who he is talking to and who he is talking about in Romans, the 10th chapter and the first verse. But they're going to take you straight to 12 and 13 and try to say, well, the whosoever. And there's no difference between the Jew and the Greek. There is no difference between the Jew and the Greek. And I'll tell you why. For context sake, there was an issue to where if you were not from Jerusalem, if you were not in Judea, we did not consider you to be a Jew. We didn't consider you to be one of us. Now, you're probably asking, well, Yediah, how can you prove it? I can show it to you in your everyday life. I'm from Southwest Philadelphia, and in particular, 60th and King Sessom. Aquania, you want to know who I did not consider to be my people? The niggas that lived in West Philly? Exactly. I'll take it even further. The brothers that lived on 58th and King Sessom, 2 blocks over, they wasn't my people because you wasn't from my block. You wasn't from my hood. See how silly and stupid that is when you think about it? But it was a lot of that going on because you had Israelites that made Greek their tongue, that were living like the Greeks and the Romans. Why do you think Paul even has to say, brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to God for that Israel, that they might be saved? Now, read verse 2, Imad. Let's come back to it. Let's come back to it real quick. Baba Kashaw.
For this is the book of Romans 10 and verse 2. For I bear them record that they have a zeal of God.
You have a zeal of God, Black, Latino, and First Nation man and woman. You do. And this is one thing I'll say. You have brothers and sisters, right, that are in the Christian church, that are in the Muslim mosque, that may be in your fake Israelite groups. And I would not deny that they may have a genuine love for our God. But here's the problem. Read.
Okay. But not according to knowledge.
But not according to knowledge. You don't know nothing. You don't know anything. How do I know you don't know anything? You will read this. Well, ignore it in their case. You'll ignore it. Or your pastor just won't go into it. Your imam won't go into it. But you being, and it's funny because in the next verse, it says, for they being ignorant of God's righteousness and going about to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of God. What's so important about that, and it goes hand in hand, because Paul also said, for whatsoever written aforetime was written for our learning. This is a precept for Hosea chapter 4 and verse 6, where Hosea said, for my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Right. You don't know who salvation is for. You got a problem. Listen, how do you know that those problems stem even deeper, and it's always been a root and an issue with our people, with jealousy and looking at your brother and sister and loving heathens? The kingdom got split. Right. The very kingdom got split, where tribes started to beef with each other. The same way that Guatemalans and Mexicans beef with each other today. The same way that Haitians and Dominicans beef with each other today. The same way how black people beef with each other today. Right. That's not something that was brand new. That's something that is always going on. We've been destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Now, for they being ignorant of God's righteousness, you know how you know you're ignorant of God's righteousness? Because you want to give a pass, you want to love and protect the same people that abuse us, the same people that don't give a damn about us, the same people that God said are nothing. For they being ignorant of God's righteousness and going about to establish their own righteousness. Now, you're ignorant of what the Most High said. The Lord said that salvation was only for the children of Israel, that he has not dealt so with any other nation. You trying to come about and pass salvation on to heathens, you're going against the Most High. You're not coming up against me. You're not coming up against Imad or Mathamyad. You're going directly against the Most High God, Yahweh. That's who your real issue is. Right. But you're going about to establish your own righteousness. And you haven't submitted yourselves unto the righteousness of God. How do I know that you haven't submitted yourselves to the righteousness of God? You come up against the Israelite school of universal practical knowledge. Right. You come up against us in every way, shape, form, or fashion, trying to defend everything that the mosque does, that your fake Israelites do. Like Imad, brothers will want to sit down here and say, and this is why, brother, big ups to my generals and my captains, because let me explain something to you simple, disgusted niggas out there. If you come in front of 15th and JFK in Philadelphia, or if you come up against us at 12th and Market in Philadelphia on a Friday or Saturday, and I am at camp, which I am always at camp, the brothers in this room is always there, and you want to talk about doctrine, I am going to talk about how your leader like shit shoved up his rectum. Paul was wrong, but you didn't. That's what I said, Aquania. They want to tell us that Paul is wrong, but your leader that you sat down with, that was your man, that you was the number 2 with, you had no idea that he liked things up his rear end. But you want to talk to me about Paul being wrong? You want to talk to me about Gentile salvation? You was wrong for not realizing that your leader has proclivities. You're wrong for that. Want to talk to us about doctrine while y'all doctrine was getting shoved up his ass. Right. You want to talk to him. You want to come up and talk about, well, you got purple rain out there. I was talking to a brother the other day that was trying to tell me, well, the purple guys just said they, women, they shouldn't be wearing pants. I'm like, brother, the things that y'all worried about the wrong thing. First of all, your leader is not only an undercover sodomite and is a sex haven for all of the sodomites that wear purple and adorn the colors of Quania. They're also murderers. Murdered a beautiful sister, Joy Morgan. Beat up, I forget that poor brother's name in Tennessee. Beat him half to death, Mathamya. Beat him half to death. And you'll defend that? But you want to come up and talk about, well, this wasn't right. This wasn't always been. You can't come up. And let me explain something to every brother and sister that is in the UPK. Do not let a Christian or a fake Israelite or anybody come up against you, you know what I mean, and try to tell you how One West was, because they were never One West. We're One West, and we're One West till the death. Right. They can't tell us nothing about the I.S.U.P.K. They can't say nothing to us about being One West, because they don't know the meaning. They're not loyal to anyone but themselves. They don't care about anyone but themselves. We don't do this for clout. We don't do this for fame. That's what y'all do it for. You'll change the doctrine and shove it up your rear end for a few dollars, or to have a white girl, or for the admiration of your oppressor daddy. That's the problem. Leave the teaching to the real priests. Leave that to us. Give me Romans 11 and verse 1, Aquania, Baba Quashaw. Again, if y'all have any questions, I will be answering questions tonight. I'm going to go further into why salvation is only for the children of Israel. Keep going.
The book of Romans, chapter 11, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
I say then, as God cast away his people.
Here's the thing. The Bible says, has God cast away his people? Paul is asking this. The same Paul that they said was wrong and he lied and all this other stuff. He said, have God cast away his people? Read.
God forbid.
God forbid. The Lord didn't just cast away the children of Israel. He didn't just throw us away for the heathens. That's why he's asking, has God cast away his people? God forbid. Read.
For I also am a man and an Israelite.
For I also am an Israelite. Paul is saying, but I'm an Israelite. Paul was an Israelite. Read.
Of the seed of Abraham.
Hmm.
Okay. All right, the water. Shalom, shalom, Israel. All right, we was having some technical difficulties. We just got it back up and rolling, so we're gonna go ahead and get the class started. All right. Any questions in the room? Anybody good? How did everybody do on so-called Thanksgiving? Anybody eat leftovers? He said no. Go ahead, Ward. Uh-huh.
Not celebrating Thanksgiving.
Damn, what they say?
My physical therapist.
Yeah,
I do physical therapy during, for my surgery.
right.
And she asked me who was cooking. I was like, I cook every other day. I got family, got kids, I eat.
Right.
And she's like, well, no, talking about she's like, for Thanksgiving.
Uh-huh.
I was like, nah, ain't nobody cooking at mine. Like, I don't celebrate Thanksgiving. And she
Right.
kind of looked at me like
Uh-huh.
like it was weird, but she's an East Indian woman. So and then and I just went on about my day, and like she was like quiet for like 10 or 15 minutes. And then when I was leaving, everybody she was like, all right, have a good day. Like I was like weird or an outcast. So,
I got you. So that's how she treated you after you told her that.
But she's East Indian though.
She's East Indian. Gotcha. Yeah. Get me on your diet. If on meat offend my brother, I will not eat. What is it? I believe I want to say Corinthians. Get me that. I mean, honestly, it just goes to show that whenever you choose to not, be and live like everybody else, then you'll see people who they really are. You know what I'm saying? Rather this, in most cases, it's like your direct family members, you know what I'm saying? But in your case, it's like, damn, why was she even like, she's a East Indian now? From my understanding, do they even celebrate Thanksgiving? They ain't supposed to celebrate Thanksgiving, right? You know what I'm saying? But of course, none of that means anything because, religion is just full of hypocrisy. You know what I'm saying? And Muslims, they ain't supposed to celebrate Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? And I think I saw them all in the supermarket. You know what I'm saying? They up in there getting ready, eating the turkey, eating the damn leftovers and all that. Matter of fact, on my way, I want to go drop my boys off from boxing, right? It was tons of indigenous people out there. You know what I'm saying? They were just like singing, they was partying and all that. I don't know why, but I was just driving. I ran into them. I was like, damn, this is why we ain't celebrate Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? Shalom, sis. Like we ain't do it for us. Shit, we did it for our brothers. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead. You got what I called for your daughter.
Con, sir. The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 8 and verse 13.
Also, Imad, you get me love thy brother as you love thyself, Bo Kishar. Go ahead, your diet. Let it